Welcome to the course, The Introduction to the User Interface of Acumatica ERP. In this video, you will get an overview of the Acumatica ERP user interface and get acquainted with the menu structure, the forms, and their elements. We will sign into Acumatica ERP by using the administrator account. Depending on the user role and the Acumatica ERP configuration, some of the menus and modules may differ. Signing in to Acumatica ERP. Once you are signed in, you see the Acumatica ERP screen. On the screen, you see the main working area, the main menu, the navigation pane, and the info area at the top right corner of the screen, using the menu and navigation pane. The main menu consists of two levels. The top level menu represents groups of modules, which we call suites. Each suite consists of modules that provide the functionality of the system. On the navigation pane, you see four tabs in most of the modules: the work area, the processes, the reports, and the configuration tab. The forms are divided into these tabs depending on their purpose and frequency of use. Typical data entry form. We will demonstrate how to work with an Acumatica ERP form from the General Ledger module as an example. Click on the Finance, General Ledger, and the Work Area tab. Select the Journal Transactions. Journal Transactions is a typical data entry form in Acumatica. Data entry forms are used for input of documents such as journal entries, sales orders, and payments. On any form, we have the form title bar, which has additional functions related to the form, such as notes, activities, files, customization options, dashboard, and help. The availability of these functions may vary. The form toolbar, which provides buttons you can work with through the use of the form. These include standard buttons you use to navigate between records and perform basic actions, such as saving, deleting, and adding an object. And the main area of the form, which typically consists of the summary and the detail area on the data entry form. New object creation. Let's create a new batch through this form. In the info area of the form, you can change the business date that is used in each new document. As an example, let's change the business date to 1 month ago. Enter the date and click OK. To insert a new record, click Add New Record on the toolbar. The parameters that are required for input are marked with an asterisk. A gray asterisk means the system has inserted a default value for the required parameter. You can change these as needed. A red asterisk means that you have to specify a value. There are no default values for these parameters. The new placeholder means the system will generate the value automatically for you as soon as you click Save to save the document, based on the numbering sequence specified in the module preferences. This placeholder is typically used for a document number. Because we are creating a batch, we have to add transactions to it. To populate the table, click Add Row on the Table toolbar. You can also click within the table to insert the first row. Specify values in the columns marked with red asterisks. In the Account column, we start entering the account number or account description. The selector automatically displays the records that are to include in the entered data. You can also press the F3 key to open the list of accounts. You can use the Tab or Enter to move to the next column. Press Tab to switch to the Sub-Account column. According to the settings defined in the system, sub-accounts can be divided into several segments. Point to one of the segments and press F3 on the keyboard to display a list of available segment values and select one. To delete a record from the table, select the record and then click Delete on the Table toolbar. If a table has numerous columns for convenient editing, you can switch between grid and form to edit the row in form mode. Click the button again to go back to the table representation. Rearranging columns. In any table within the system, you can rearrange the columns, change column size, hide unnecessary columns, or display hidden columns. To make these changes, click the top left column's configuration icon displayed in the column headers line. Remove unnecessary columns from the selected columns list, or add the hidden columns from the available columns list. Once you have made the needed changes, click Save to save the columns and their positions beyond the session as your individual configuration of the form. Alternatively, you can click OK to accept the configuration of the columns for only the current session. Please note that if you do not save the column configuration of the form, it will be restored after reopening the form. Click Reset to Defaults to restore the initial group of columns with their sizes and order. Warning and error messages. While you are entering data into the form, the system will use a yellow warning symbol to inform you about any potential mismatches. For example, when the transaction date entered is outside the specified financial period, you will get a warning message. Despite the occurrence of the warning message, the system allows the data to be saved. If you have entered an invalid value, you will see a red error icon. If you point to the icon, you will see the error message. The data won't be saved until you correct the value in this case. Now you can click Save or save the document in your database. Once you click Save, the data from both the summary and the detailed areas is saved into the database. Attachments. You can also attach files to the document by using the Files menu. Let's attach an image to the batch and see how we can access it. You can click Files and then click Browse to select the file for upload. Alternatively, you can simply drag and drop the file to the summary section of the form. You can now see the number 1 in the parenthesis beside the Files menu, which denotes one file has been attached to the document. Copying a record. On most forms, the Form toolbar has buttons for navigation and data manipulation. For instance, you can select the Clipboard drop-down menu to copy a record and paste the copied as a new one. Inquiry form as the primary view. You can configure the primary representation of data entry form so that the users start to work with lists of documents after opening the form. In some modules of Acumatica ERP, such a representation is used by default. For example, select Cases in the Customer Management module. You can see that the cases are displayed primarily on the inquiry form, which is divided into tabs. Each tab is a filter that you can configure in the system. You can quickly search for a record in the list on each tab. To view or edit a document, click its link in the list. Searching for a document. There are several ways to search for a document in the system. Let's say we want to find the bill number 23 in the Accounts Payable module. One way is to find the document on the Bills and Adjustments form where it was created. To do this, open the Bills and Adjustments form in the Accounts Payable module and click the selector icon by the reference number box. This brings up the lookup table. To search the value by using the dialog box, in the search box, start typing the string you are looking for. Type 023. The table will display all results containing that string. You can see the bill with the reference number 000023 at the end of the list. Full text search. You can also search for a document from any form by using the full text search capabilities. Type the reference number of the document in the search box and click Search, which brings up the search form with a list of results. Then select the required document in the results list. The search form also contains a search box that you can use if you want to enter a different string. You can type into the search box any known data of the document, not just a reference number, to find it in this way. For example, you can enter a string from the description or the vendor reference number. Collapsing and expanding work panes. Now, when you are doing data entry, you sometimes might want to give more space to the detail area, especially if the summary or selection area contains many lines. In this case, you can collapse the summary area by clicking the arrow button in the top right corner of the form. To expand the form back to its original view, click the icon again. You can also collapse and expand the left navigation pane by using the similar arrow button at the top left part of the form. Sorting and filtering records. In any table in the system, you can sort the records by one column and filter records by one column or multiple columns. Suppose we want to sort the transactions by reference number. Click the reference number column header and select Sort Ascending in the column dialog box that opens. Then, suppose we want to see the transactions where the debit amount is greater than $200 for the office expense account only. We can do this by inserting a filter on the debit column and inserting a second filter on the account column. Insert each filter by clicking the column header and selecting the appropriate filter option, and entering a value if necessary. If you want to go back to the original list of transactions, simply clear the filters on both of the columns by clicking each column header and then selecting Clear Filter. Inquiry Forms. In the Explore group of the Work Area tab, there are inquiry forms. On an inquiry form, you can select data by the specified criteria. Open the Account Summary form. Select Cash Asset in the Account class box. You can see the data is filtered by the specified account class. That is, the summary of accounts that belong to the Cash Asset account class. You can export the inquiry data to an Excel file by clicking Export to Excel, or view the account details for the selected account by clicking the Account Details button. You can also save selection criteria as a reusable filter by clicking the Filter Settings button. Let's create a filter that displays the account summary for the account class Cash Asset. Click the Filter Settings icon to open the Filter Settings window. Add a new line and select Account Class in the Property column. Then define the value. Click Save and enter the name for the filter. The new filter is added to the Account Summary form as a new tab. Data Processing. On the Processes tab, you can see forms that you can use to perform a mass processing operation on a set of selected objects. Post Transactions is a typical processing form. The form displays batches of transactions that can be posted. Here you can select one transaction or multiple transactions by selecting a checkbox for each transaction you want to post. If you select the unnamed checkbox in the column header, all records on the current page are selected. Click Post to process the selected records, or click Post All to start posting all of the listed records. On any processing form, you can set up a schedule that automatically runs the processing operation of all records that match the query of the processing form at the specified time. Reports. On the Reports tab, you can generate different reports. Let's run the Trial Balance Summary. Open the Trial Balance Summary form. On the Report Parameters tab, you have to specify the required parameters of the report, which are marked with an asterisk. You can also specify any optional parameters if needed. Select the financial period and click Run Report. The system generates the report, which you can export as a PDF or Excel file, or send it for printing. Go back to the report form, click Parameters. You can save a set of report parameters as a template if needed. Configuration Forms. Finally, we will review the Configuration tab of the navigation pane. These forms are mostly used during the configuration and setup stage of Acumatica ERP implementation, and they are used less over time. For example, in the General Ledger module on the Configuration tab, you can find forms to specify the General Ledger preferences, define the financial year, and perform other default activities. Favorites. When you are on a particular form, you can add that form as a favorite by clicking Add to Favorites. The star is now yellow to demonstrate that this form is part of your favorites. You can access all of your favorites by clicking Favorites on the far left of the main menu bar. Searching for a form. You can search for forms and help articles in the system. To search for a form, type the form name in the search box. Suppose you are searching for the General Ledger Preferences form. As you are typing the form name in the search box, the search results appear in the drop-down list. The upper list provides options to search in categories: the current module or all entities, help, and files. The forms matching the text you have typed are listed below the line. If you want the General Ledger Preferences form, so you click the form at the bottom of the list. Searching for help articles. For each form, you can see the documentation by selecting Help in the Help drop-down menu on the Form title bar. To search for help articles by a keyword, type the keyword in the universal search box on the navigation pane. When the options appear in the drop-down box, select the option to search in Help. The list of help articles matching the keyword appears on the search form. Click the link of the help article you're looking for to open it. That's all for the introduction to the user interface of Acumatica ERP. Thank you for watching.